but it challenges the validity of the elections because who knows what else might be going on.
Right now at 11 at DMV double take as the number of Oregonians mistakenly registered to vote once again goes up. Plus, a pathway toward treatment and weeks behind schedule as you learn when Multnomah County's Drug Deflection Center will finally open. But first.
It was scary for us. We don't know what to do.
Well, as another major hurricane strengthens and churns toward the Florida coast. Good evening, everyone. We begin at 11 with Hurricane Milton, a Category 5 storm packing maximum sustained winds of 165 miles per hour. Now sideswiping Mexico's Yucatan and taking aim at Tampa Bay. And with millions of people in its path and the storm less than 48 hours out, people up and down Florida's Gulf Coast still cleaning up from Helene are evacuating again or being urged to leave ahead of what could be catastrophic storm surge. Tampa's mayor saying tonight, quote, "If you want to take on Mother Nature, she wins 100% of the time." Well, thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko, along with Chief Meteorologist Matt Sfino. Matt, it feels like the storm intensified in just the blink of an eye.
It dropped 50 millibars in 10 hours. That is, I've never heard of that actually for any storms. This is the strongest storm on the planet and one of the top 5 strongest storms ever in the entire Atlantic basin. Now, it has weakened a little bit tonight. I hate to use that term because it's still a strong Category 4 right now, just a couple miles an hour under Category 5 strength. But it's still an absolute beast with sustained winds of 155 miles an hour. This is the historic track. Dived a little bit south, which actually helped it maintain its strength over that warm water. Here's the current path, again on a beeline towards Tampa Bay. The path now has shifted ever so slightly north. And honestly, a couple miles might make a big difference as to how the damage is with this storm, because if it goes inland just like that, just north of Tampa Bay, the storm surge will go right up the gut of Tampa Bay, and that's basically a worst case scenario. The water gets in there, it's got nowhere to go once it gets to the end of the bay there. This could end up being, if it tracks, like we think it might, this would end up being Tampa Bay's Katrina, or for a Florida analog, Tampa Bay's Andrew, if you will. Now, look at the storm surge, or look at the wind field on this. Even though the storm has weakened a bit, it's going to get bigger. I put this marker on there to show you this was the original storm field here. This yellow area is what it will be when it reaches Florida. So far bigger than it is right now, and that's one of the problems. The problem with storm surge, of course, is that it elevates the water level. We may see 12, 15 feet of storm surge. Here's what that does. It goes up to the rooftops of houses. So again, super problematic. All of the models, not all of them, but most of them converging on the Tampa Bay area. We call these spaghetti models for obvious reasons. You put them all together, it looks like a big old spaghetti plot on the map, but each one of those lines represents a different model. So again, the rainfall will be intense. The storm surge is going to be big. We will continue to track. David?
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Stay with KGW and NBC News as we continue to track Milton as it heads toward Florida's Gulf Coast. The latest updates on air at KGW.com and on the KGW app. Well, to yet another twist in the saga of Oregon's DMV mistakenly registering non-citizens to vote, because once again, it appears that number has jumped. Alma McCarty's in the newsroom. So, Alma, how many people are we talking now?
Yeah, David, another 300 improperly registered for a total of more than 1,500 people since this all began. Now the program is on pause as the governor and the Secretary of State call for an independent audit.
A report released Monday now reveals a clear picture about what went wrong with Oregon's motor voter program and how more than 1,500 people were improperly registered to vote.
But it opens up that national conversation about how secure all this is.
First, they discovered the drop-down menu issue where staff mistakenly selected a U.S. passport instead of a foreign one, accounting for more than 1,200 mistakenly registered. Then, as detailed in the 7-page document this week, the DMV found 2 more errors, leading to 300 more improper registrations. A technical issue that caused thousands of records to go unanalyzed, and the registration of people from American Samoa. They're U.S. nationals, not U.S. citizens, and they don't have the same right to vote. Top state officials have called for an external audit of the motor voter program and have vowed to correct the errors and keep them from happening. Here's Governor Tina Kotek in a briefing late last week.
There's ongoing training happening with staff, data analysis due at the end of the year of how we could be doing things different, and that might turn up other ways we can improve the system. And really, the Secretary of State and the DMV have to have some kind of calendar of these are the things we need to check on a regular basis.
Another fix, hiring a voter registration integrity manager in charge of making sure the DMV's role in motor voter runs smoothly and accurately. Meantime, leaders are once again assuring voters the 2024 election won't be impacted and that the vote-by-mail system is the most secure.
It's much, much more secure than the way we used to do it, but people don't focus on that. They focus on the possibilities, oh, this could happen, and that erodes trust.
Politics professor Jim Moore explains although the 1,500 records now removed from the state's voter rolls made up a tiny fraction of the 3 million registered in Oregon, these errors can impact public perception.
We're in the vanishing twinkling of much less than 0.1% kind of thing. So it doesn't really make a difference in the elections, but it challenges the validity of the elections because who knows what else might be going on.
Until that external audit is complete, the governor has directed the DMV to pause transmitting motor voter data to the Secretary of State. House Republican lawmakers say they welcome the audit, saying from their point of view, something is systemically wrong with the automatic voter registration system. David?
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder what they're going to find next. Thank you, Alma. Well, to get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. Today marks 1 year since the Hamas attack on Israel, which killed some 1,200 people. Jewish community members and supporters gathered at an event at the Oregon Holocaust Memorial in Southwest Portland. In the year since the attacks, the Israel-Hamas war, according to the Palestinian health officials, has led to the deaths of over 41,000 people in Gaza. Court records have named the suspect Portland police shot and injured in the Woodlawn neighborhood last month. Authorities say they were trying to arrest Jesse James West for several violent felonies involving a gun. When there was an exchange of gunfire, West was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries and now faces several charges, including attempted murder. Police say they recovered a gun. 3 officers were placed on administrative leave. And jury selection is underway in the trial of a man accused of kidnapping a woman and holding her in a makeshift cinder block cell in his home. Prosecutors say Nagasi Zuberi kidnapped the woman in Seattle and drove her all the way to Klamath Falls in July of 2023. She eventually managed to escape. Opening arguments are set for Wednesday, with the trial set to last about 3 weeks. Now to an update on Multnomah County's Deflection Center, which is set to open next Monday. That's about 6 weeks behind schedule as an alternative to jail for some people caught using illegal drugs. Blair Best has the latest.
Just like the change in season, a change is coming to this corner of Multnomah County. On October 14th, this modest building in Portland's Central East Side will be where officers take people eligible for deflection, an option for those without active warrants whose only crime is possession of hard drugs. This deflection center was originally set to open more than a month ago on September 1st, when possession became a crime again in Oregon. But Multnomah County Chair Jessica Vega Peterson delayed the opening due to staffing shortages.
It's going to make a huge difference for law enforcement because law enforcement and our partners at the City of Portland have been clear with us. They need a space to drop off people who are eligible for deflection.
Starting Monday, the Deflection Center will be open from 7 in the morning to 11 at night, Monday through Friday, and until 3 p.m. on weekends. Security will be on site and patrolling the perimeter 24/7.
The Deflection Center is going to be operating partly based on when we're seeing the most demand for deflection services.
Services the county could not offer alone.
We're the architectural of record for the project.
Margaret Wilson is the principal architect Multnomah County hired to help find and design the deflection building and deal with permitting, among other things.
We've been designing their spaces and really working in hand with the construction company to provide a quick delivery of service so that they could open as quickly as possible.
The plan is to add 10 reclining chairs to act as sobering beds early next year. But Wilson is also searching for a permanent drop-off sobering center where people can stay up to a few days, different from this deflection center.
We've been looking at anything from warehouse buildings that have limited walls on the interior to I think there was one that was more of an office building that we were going to renovate. And a project type like this really can make a huge impact on people's lives as they start their transition, and really look at how this can be a great impact to our whole entire community.
All to help people like Steve, who stays busy clearing the sidewalk where he sleeps. It's a block away from the deflection center and under a billboard that warns of the deadly consequences of the drug he depends on.
I went from fishing commercially for 12 years, and I was about 50 days away from a 100-ton master captain's license, and I threw it away because I chose fentanyl.
Now he spends $50 a day on fentanyl laced with xylazine, or tranq, an animal tranquilizer that causes these open wounds on his leg.
So xylazine is, which people know as tranq dope. Our body doesn't really know how to, I guess, expel it, is what I'm told, and doesn't know how to filter it out, and so we get leg wounds, and they won't go away. It's painful. It's scary. I've wanted to quit for a long time, but the pain comes back.
Blair Best, KGW News.
We appreciate him sharing his story with Blair. Straight ahead on KGW News at 11, a high school football game leads to another racist incident, what we're learning from the district tonight. Plus, why residents of a Vancouver mobile home park fear they have just weeks to come up with millions. Stay with us.